Hi, this is Jerry Davis. I'm the artistic director of Burning Coal Theater Company, and I have with me today the producing artistic director of the Temple Theater, Peggy Taphorn from Sanford. Peggy, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jerry. It's nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Same to you. Sanford is a unique environment for a professional theater to exist, and you've been there 15 years now. Is that right? Something like
12. I'm in my 12th season.
yeah. And has the pandemic affected Sanford uniquely? I know there are a lot of retirement homes and things there. Has that made a big
Sure.
difference?
Yeah, and like you said, we have a little bit of a different business model because I learned pretty early on that I was going to have to attract groups into Sanford because the Lee County audience just wasn't large enough.
Right.
So we instituted those Thursday, Friday, and Sunday matinees where we have bus tours that come in from 63 different counties.
Wow.
So obviously, when this started, we were greatly impacted because those groups either were unable to or unwilling to travel to Sanford, even at the very beginning when we were running Steel Magnolias.
Oh man, wow.
So yes, it's going to be an interesting recovery, and that's sort of what we're looking ahead to. So I've had to make some pretty tough business decisions in the last week, like everyone else, in order to make sure that we have a very small, prudent reserve, but so that that can kind of see us through what this recovery process will be.
And
So
you've had to lay off a couple of people, or temporarily at least.
yes, we are all, the entire staff is furloughed
Wow.
at this point for the foreseeable future. Again, to kind of save that prudent reserve, I did the financials and basically, I run a tight ship anyway, as we all
Yeah,
do. So
yeah.
the good news is when we get back to the recovery, we know how to do great shows on a budget.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but just seeing what our options were to serve the staff the best, there are 9 of us, as well as to be able to save our prudent reserve, it seemed to be the thing to do. So we are currently furloughed, and as soon as we get the all clear, we will be back and running.
That's good. And the federal government is at least saying they're going to do something for people who've been laid off and furloughed and that sort of thing. I'm just curious. Were you in the middle of Steel Magnolias, or were you able
We
to finish?
were. We did the opening weekend. So we still had 10 shows of a 15 show run left.
Wow.
So like everybody, like yourself and all the other producers, now I'm trying to think of ways to serve those patrons. And then following that, we had our biggest seller of the year in advance sales, and that was Mamma Mia. So we, like everybody else, just announced our next season, but I'm trying to figure out a way to reconfigure that season so that we can do the additional 2 weekends of Steel Magnolias. It was a fabulous cast. I loved working with those ladies, and I'd love to give those artists a shot at finishing that run,
Right.
and then do Mamma Mia. So we're rethinking on how we can refigure what next season is going to look like. We've also, what I've been hearing from most other producers as far as refunds and all of that, we've had a good percentage of people very generously donate back their unused tickets for the rest of the year,
Sure.
but about 50% did want a refund. So I'm hoping that rescheduling these events will also eliminate that huge outpouring of cash.
Yeah.
Because as you know, all of your expenses are front loaded. We've already built the set, built the costumes, rehearsed with the actors, all of that good stuff, paid the creative team. So we're hoping to not only do the great shows we had planned, but also recoup that investment.
Were you able to leave the set in place just out of curiosity, or did you have to take it down?
We did take it down because we did our season reveal, which was supposed to be our biggest fundraiser of the year, as a live stream. And so we had video accompaniment and all those fun things that you can do with a live stream.
Yeah.
And we decided to take the set down because we are also had hoped to do it at the Sunrise Theater in Moore County. It was a co-production
Yeah.
for 3 performances. So we had made the set transportable anyway.
Right.
So it's kind of easy to take it all down. We put everything in the warehouse actually just last week, in a specific area that's all together, so that again, once we get the all clear, we can put that set up in a couple of hours really,
Good.
and then get back to performing.
That's great. That's terrific. Peggy, do you have summer camps and things like that too? Are you able to plan for those at all right now, or are those just sort of dormant, or how's that going?
Well, again, it depends what the school systems here do. And again, our summer camps are kind of a regional event. We pull from usually 6 to 8 different counties for our summer programs.
Right.
And we've already paid for all those licensing. We are
Yeah.
scheduled to do 2 huge camps of the Lion King Junior. That's for age 8 to 18, and those
Mm.
usually have about 55 kids each.
Right.
Then we do an advanced, what we call our advanced littles camp, which this year's is We Are Monsters, which is for 8 to 12-year-old. That's a 1 week camp. We do a 3 week Shakespeare intensive, which is Love Labor's Lost.
Mhm.
And then we have our advanced musical theater camp, which is 2 week camp for teenagers, and that was supposed to be 13, the musical. So all of those licensing rights have been paid. We've had kids send in video auditions because we had our scheduled youth auditions were supposed to be this past Saturday,
Right.
which obviously we couldn't do. So I've gotten a ton of video auditions. And again, once we get the all clear, we are ready to go. I have a great new education director, Elise Timbers, who's coming in, who's going to be a great asset to our team. So we're all just kind of on hold. And as soon as we get what the school system schedule is going to be, we'll be flexible. Maybe we'll do night camps instead of day camps.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take those 2 week camps and try to cram them into an 8 hour day, 1 week camp so that we can kind of get it all programmed.
Right.
Because I think kids and parents both are going to be ready for a little separation time
Get them
from
out.
what I'm hearing.
Get them out. Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to give them a place if we're able to do it.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I know you have a fairly extensive season that you've announced. What are you most excited about for next year, other than Mamma Mia and Steel Magnolias? What else are you excited about?
Well, I love working with Mike Wiley. I know you've worked with Mike Wiley. I tell everybody that will listen to me that, at some point he is going to be, the playwright, the most well-known playwright in North Carolina. And I've produced one of his shows every year since I've been here. So we've done 12 of his shows. Some of them we've repeated. And this was supposed to, and is still going to be a repeat of his Blood Done Sign My Name,
Yeah.
which has local ties to Sanford. Tim Tyson is originally from Sanford, who wrote the book upon which it's based.
Right.
Tim's going to come and do some talkbacks. Mike does a talkback after every show. Again, we might have to truncate and not be able to do the full 10 performances, but I'm really trying to figure out a way to squeeze everything into our season. But I'm excited about Mike bringing that very relevant, very wonderful, moving
Yeah.
piece back to the
That's great.
temple.
That's really fantastic. Yeah, I didn't know you had done one of his shows every year. That's
Right.
something to be really, really proud of. Okay. And then my last question, I guess, Peggy, this one's a little kind of open-ended, but does this tell us anything about our society or about the arts in our society, particularly right now, this moment in history?
Right. Well, I've definitely heard from our patrons and supporters, and particularly our local businesses, because Sanford is the economic engine of downtown as well. Particularly the restaurants and shops in the historic district greatly benefit by our being there and putting on shows. So I think not only do we provide people an outlet and a place to gather as a community and a place to spend a couple hours communing with each other and laughing and crying and experiencing and talking and all of that great stuff,
Yeah.
but we also provide an economic stimulus for everybody. So I think people appreciate what the arts do in their communities. I think now more than ever. I think the recovery is going to be slow for all of us. So I know we're kind of banding with our local restaurants and trying to figure out ways we can keep each other, afloat
Yeah.
once we can get back to work. But what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling in my heart is that, this is going to be a challenging time to be in the arts, but I think it's also going to be a very rewarding time to offer people the things that we offer them and their youth as well, with all the youth programs that we do and the community outreach and the community building. I think now more than ever, I think it's going to be important for us to continue on in whatever capacity we're able,
Right.
because I think people need us more than ever.
whenever you do a play, you're doing a play about that time and that place, but
Right.
in some very real way, you're also doing a play about this time and this place and what the audience brings into the room with them from that day. And so I think the sense of community is going to be really profound once we're able to get back on the board. So
Exactly.
thank you for joining us today, Peggy.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it, and break a leg as you get ready to start back up again, hopefully very soon.
Thank you. You too, Jerry. It's great talking to you.
Take care.